Yeah. Hmm. So what did we, yeah, we were reading the book. We were in the middle of the text about the, which brothers? Angulo brothers. We're gonna finish this text today. Okay. Hey, Rodrigo. Hey, Gonzalo.
Hey, teacher.
Yeah. Everything is all right, people? Yeah. Okay. We learned about the the importance of family. You remember? We studied something, uh, importance. Tell me the part of a speech. Importance, the part of a speech of the word importance.
Um, no.
It's a noun, Noelia says. What about the rest of you?
Noun.
It's a noun. Alejandro confirms. All right, agrees. Gonzalo and Rodrigo. Importance.
No, no.
Okay. Now, sorry, Rodrigo, what did you say, dear?
Yeah, importance is a noun.
And what kind of noun do you think it is?
Mm, an abstract noun. Among
An
nouns.
abstract noun, an abstract noun. Everybody, it's an abstract noun because you take the quality, out of important. Important is an adjective. And when you draw, the quality, then it is called importance. Okay, the name of the quality, importance. Okay. So important is the adjective and importance is the noun. Absolutely correct, all of you. Okay. Complex or complex. This is an adjective. Flawed is an adjective. There's so much beauty in the world. Beauty, and again, an abstract noun. It was only when this emphasizes, okay, it was only when we got to our teens, understand this expression. We got to our teens means when we became teenagers. We got to our teens means we became teenagers. Noelia is feeling cold inside the house.
Yeah, because I took a nap and then I feel cold right now.
Right. What time, what temperature do you think it is right now?
I 6 degrees.
60, right.
Yeah, and it's raining.
Well, we are going to experience 6 degrees in the first week of January, most probably.
Oh wow.
6 or 7 or maybe 8. When it touches 6, it's really hard, here. Yeah.
Yeah, here when it's windy, it's colder.
Yeah, obviously you're right. That cold
Yeah,
breeze, that makes it,
yeah,
harder to handle that cold.
yeah.
It was only when we got to our teens, we became teenagers. Nice expression. Got to our adulthood. It means became adults. That we started to realize we were living a very different life to other people. We began to get more curious, become more curious. We began to get more curious. Get has a lot of meanings in English. I hope you guys appreciate. Get changes its meaning so much depending on the context. Okay. Here, get was to reach, and here to get means become. We began to get more curious. One morning, I simply woke up and decided to go out while my dad was getting groceries. Okay. I simply woke up and decided to go out while my dad was getting groceries. Decide to do something. Decided to go out. Decided to stay at home. Decided to skip classes. Decided to watch a film. Decide to do something. Wearing a scary homemade mask. Again, take a look at this one. You look at the structure of this sentence in English. Wearing a scary homemade mask. Scary is, of course, something that scares you. Okay, I'm not a scary person, I believe, but some of my students in my physical class still feel a bit scared of me. I don't know why. Do you have scary teachers at school that make you feel a little nervous around them? No? In India, a lot of teachers are scary. Actually, some teachers take pride in it that they are scary. The students are scared of them. I don't understand. They think it is a shortcut way of forcing discipline in the class, to scare the students into discipline. Okay. Yeah, they say if there are some of my students' parents, when they see the children very comfortable around me, they complain. They say in a funny way, "Teacher, the children are not scared of you. What kind of teacher you are?" I said, "Why do you think they should be scared of me?" Then they say, "If they're not scared of you, why will they listen to you?" I said, "They will listen to me because I'm their teacher. I teach a special class where I have only students aged 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. And I don't really try and scare them. I am very friendly with them. So they do their mischiefs, no doubt, because most teachers are not like me here. They do try and scare the children, so that they don't do any mischiefs in the class. But I think it's all right for children to be a little mischievous. You can't change the nature of their age. When they are at that age, they would like, being a little bit mischievous, and that's totally all right. Um, it's a strange, the way certain people have always thought. So teachers here are supposed to be a scary person. Yeah. Even when I was at school, I had some teachers who were very scary. And, you know, they were also proud that they were so scary. The students wouldn't really talk to them much. Once they shouted in the class, they will all go quiet. Hmm. Okay, scary. It depends on the culture. Like I know that in many countries, teachers don't have the permission or freedom or the right to punish their students physically, right? I'm pretty sure you've never seen. Have you seen your teachers punishing anybody physically, like hitting them? No. It's a common practice. It's a common practice in our schools. Again, it's not legal
Right
though.
now?
It's not legal though. It's not legal. Okay. Government has rules against this practice. You are not supposed to hit your students, but it's still, because it has social sanction. Socially it is so acceptable. Even parents sometimes say this to their teachers, their children's teachers. Punish them if they don't listen to you. If they don't study hard, punish them. Okay. The parents recommend this. And
Yeah.
it's something that is not very, I will say, controversial. It's not something that is hated. It's commonly accepted. Yeah, he's your teacher, he can punish you, stuff like that. Okay. And even I, who has been with so much, I've got so much of exposure to the other side of the world as well. And despite that, I sometimes, because I've grown up in this culture, I think, just a little bit punishment is all right if they're not listening, if they're just not behaving themselves. Uh, I don't know. Actually, it's very difficult for me to decide what actually is right. Okay, tell me something, Alejandro, Noelia, Gonzalo, and Rodrigo. If you have a really indisciplined child, okay, somebody who's just not listening, who's not doing their homework, who's not very disciplined in the class, they create problems for others. How do the teachers deal with them? What do they do? Do they simply send them out of the class? Are they expelled from school? How is these things? How are these things dealt with?
Um, in my grade 12, like we are old for like to be yelled by a teacher. So people basically say like do your homework like 2 or 3 times. Then if you don't do it, it's like not my business. Like the teacher
Oh,
says like not my business because you're old. You know that like it's bad to do like not to do your homework, so they don't care. But if they have an interview with their parents, the teacher is gonna say, yeah, your child, blah 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 blah, did this. But yeah.
got it.
I don't like the teacher is in my I think in my sister's school, the teacher the punishment is like not to go to lunch, not to go outside. Like if they don't do their homework, it's like so they're not going to the lunch and play like for one day. So one lunch they don't go
Right,
outside. I think that's
right.
a punishment. Yeah.
Taking their liberty, taking their freedom, away. You're not allowed to play with your friends. You're not allowed to meet your friends during lunchtime. Just stay in the room, sit alone. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Gonzalo, Rodrigo, what about you? Have you had a different experience at school? The same things as Noelia said. You know, I would like to know if there is a 10 or 12-year-old child who's not being very disciplined, how do the teachers deal with it?
No, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
In our school, the teachers write down the student in
Mm-hmm.
an incident notebook,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe they write the reason why they wrote them, or they also take them out of the room of the
Mm-hmm.
classroom.
Mm-hmm. So we do these things as well. I would like to highlight one thing here. Culturally, teachers are placed on a higher pedestal, okay, than even parents. Okay. In India, we use the word guru, okay, for teachers, and gurus are more important, have more importance in your life than your parents. Your parents are responsible for giving birth to you, but it is the teachers who make you humans, they make you who you are actually. So teachers are given more credit, more importance, more value, more respect than parents actually in our culture. And like Noelia, you said that a time comes when the teachers resign. They say, "Okay, you're old enough to understand what's right, what's wrong for you. So we are not going to care anymore after we have told you a couple of times what your problem is. If you're not interested in changing yourself, we don't care."
Mm.
Well, this resignation, attitude of resignation, like giving up, is not very common and not appreciated in Indian culture. All right, I know these things are changing slowly, but in a lot of places, if a teacher behaves this way, the parents, other teachers will not appreciate it. They say, no, you can't give up. You have to keep trying. And I will say, except for some teachers, yes, some teachers are absolutely horrible. They beat children for their sadistic pleasure, maybe. But most teachers punish children because they have their best interest at heart. They believe that children are being indisciplined out of ignorance, out of, immaturity. and it is their responsibility to guide them. And if it means slapping a little bit, punishing a little bit physically, it's all right, because if they get to the right track, if they do something in life, they'll feel grateful to their teachers later on, that their teachers were there to correct them. Even if we have a nice saying here, a proverb type thing, that when a potter is giving shape to the pot, he sometimes needs to pat the pot that he's making, the clay thing. So that the punishment is compared to this patting of the pot. Without using that pressure on the clay, you cannot give it the shape you want. So this is how it is looked at. Again, that's why I said I can see the good side of it. I can see the bad side of it as well. So yes, it allows some teachers to, exploit students. That's why legally it is not allowed. Okay. But socially, it is not looked down upon. If a teacher punishes a student, the teacher is not, criticized so much, unless he becomes very, very, cruel, and he hits the child in the wrong way, like slapping once or twice, punishing them with a stick on their hands is not really bad in our culture. We think a little bit of strictness is necessary sometimes, because children are not very mature, they believe, and sometimes they just don't know what is good for them. So you have to sometimes tell them the hard way. um, it is true for some children, actually. Some children are very sensitive. They don't like being hit at all, and they're always disciplined. They always do what is expected of them. But there are some children, okay. I have friends my age. They are in good jobs. Some of them remember when they were teenagers how their teachers punished them, but they have zero disrespect for those teachers. They still feel very grateful to those teachers who guided them. They don't carry any negativity. Why? I think it is the culture. The culture teaches you to respect the teachers and respect their intentions, and it is widely accepted that the teachers have your best interest at their heart. So even if he shouts at you, even if he punishes you, he is not doing it out of any negative emotions. He is just doing it to guide you, to help you. uh, to be cruel, to be kind, that's the expression. Teachers are cruel to be kind. That's what they say. You know, they're helping you. So I don't know if you can appreciate that attitude, because you have not seen that. I know, but it is how it
Yeah.
is.
I see that before when I was a child.
Uh-huh.
One of my teacher hit my friend, and then it was so bad because her parents go to the school and then like protest because a teacher cannot hit like a kid, and we were like 6 years or 7, and it was like so cruel, like for a teacher to hit my friend, and then
Such
it was
such
not only her, it was like several kids.
such
So
incidents happen here as well, and we feel really bad about them, when a teacher crosses his line or her line, and does something to traumatize a child, with their
yeah,
behavior. This is absolutely unacceptable. Like, your purpose is to help the child, not to harm the child. So if your behavior is, instead of helping, is harming the child, then you are at fault, of course, But like I said, when we have this parents teacher meeting, some parents encourage the teachers, don't worry, sir, punish the child if he's not listening. I'm not going to come to complain. It means they trust their teachers so much that they actually say these things, and the
yeah.
teachers, in most more cases than not, carry that respect and trust the right way. They don't disappoint the parents.
Yeah, improve. The parents like do the same, like punish. So they told to the teachers like punish my kid, but they do it like as a joke. It's not like very
You're
serious
right.
thing.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. But
So the
there's
teacher
also,
doesn't learn.
yeah, you're right, absolutely, Noelia. You're right. But children feel a little bit pressure that my parents have already given the permission to the teacher. So
Oh
I
yeah, that's
better behave myself. I better behave myself. Okay.
yeah, and I think that's good. Like it's
Mm,
better than like a
yeah.
punish physical
Okay,
punishment.
so it's somewhere the same, but still like we have changed. Like recently we had this law. I think when I was a child, there was no such law that teachers couldn't beat their, students. But as the cases of teachers being cruel were rising, some teachers were just showing their frustration. I mean, taking out their frustration at their children at school. So it was clearly, not tolerated, and this law was brought about. And I think it was good, because those bad teachers should have a little fear as well in their mind that they cannot,
Yeah.
misbehave with their students, cannot show their sadistic, attitude in the class. Otherwise, some teachers used to like it really, really, beat the students, black and blue. I remember. Okay, now here, this is story. I was in middle school. Okay, I think I was in class seventh. Yeah, class seventh. I was in class seventh, or maybe class eighth. It can be called high school as well, but okay. There was a guy. He was taller than most of us, and older as well. His name was Manoranjan. Okay, and that guy was taller and older, and we kind of stayed away from him. I mean, a lot of younger children because he appeared so much older than us. One day, we heard that the teachers were very angry with him, and he was gonna be punished. And when he was punished, we could hear his crying everywhere in the school. The school was quite big, but in every room you could hear him crying. He was yelling, he was shouting, he was yelling out of pain. Screaming out of pain, because he was being punished by two, three teachers at the same time. And you know what was his mistake?
Wow.
I think he kind of misbehaved with a girl. I think maybe he wrote a letter. He wrote a letter showing his emotions to a girl. And that letter somehow reached the teacher. Okay. And in our culture, this is considered really bad. You're not supposed to uh,
Yeah.
engage in this kind of behavior when you're at school. Okay. Today, I mean, I'm telling you the story of 1990s, okay? But right now in 2024, the situation has changed quite a bit. People's attitude has changed quite a bit towards relationship and boys and girls relationship. But back then it was such a taboo. And even his parents could not really say anything. Yes, my son has done something wrong, so he deserves punishment. And it was such a bad thing for us. We couldn't think of writing a letter to a girl telling her that we liked her or we loved her or stuff like that. But he did somehow, and the girl uh, gave the letter to the teacher, and this is what happened to him. Now, what do you have to say to that?
It's so dumb. It's really dumb. Like for a letter? No, 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 that's not fair.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I would not really agree with that. I would not approve of that punishment for that mistake. I think there were better ways to deal with it, you know. But again, it was those times,
Yeah.
30 years ago. Things were very different in my hometown than now.
Yeah.
I don't think today if a student behaves that way, gives a letter to a girl, he will be beaten that way. Maybe school will still call the parents and say your child is engaging in that kind of behavior. And we still think of girls as prestige and respect of the family. So if a guy is approaching a girl, the girl's parents have, or family have the right to feel offended. Okay, why did you think of this? Do you think my daughter is not of good character that you approached her this way? That's how they think. They don't look
Mm.
at it as genuine human emotion. They don't look at it that way. They look at it as an insult. Rodrigo Gonzalo Alejandro. If you guys like a girl at school, in what way can you show her that you like her without risking anything? Like if you don't want to risk any, um, what do you call it? I mean, is there a risk in telling that girl, I want to understand that you like her?
There's
No,
no
Elias said
risk.
no, there is no risk.
No, they can tell.
Well, sometimes there is an emotional risk because you know, like whenever if you actually like that girl, there is an emotional risk towards your academic, probably academic, how do I say, performance? Yeah, academic performance, because sometimes that can actually affect you emotionally, and it can it can eventually make your decisions be based on what you felt if she refuses to stay with you. Let's say this, like if in that situation, I say.
Very good point, Alejandro. Valid point. Rejection can be hard to deal with sometimes, and people kind of lose their perspective in that kind of situation. They are overwhelmed with some negative emotions when they're rejected, find it difficult to, carry on with their usual life, and yeah, addiction to alcohol and, becoming a bit depressed is pretty common among teenagers, when they are rejected. Yeah, true. Is there any risk of ridicule and judgment from, other people, whether the girl accepts or doesn't accept, irrespective of that, because you are showing interest in this thing, like love and relationship at a school level, at a school, you know, here they will say you are supposed to be focused on studies only, and whether the girl accepts your proposal or not doesn't matter. You are showing interest in these things is bad enough in itself. Rodrigo Gonzalo, your opinion.
The teacher, I don't understand very. I don't understand the what do you say? Sorry, because you speak so too quickly.
Okay, I can slow down, Rodrigo, for you. You see, we are talking about boys finding, girls attractive at school, and showing their emotions to them, letting them know that they like them. Is it something socially tabooish, wrong? Do people criticize this kind of behavior? Or is it considered normal that boys and girls will feel attracted? There are parents here who advocate for, support the idea of having separate schools for girls and separate schools for boys. And they think if they have to be successful in their lives, they must stay away from these feelings at school. They say there is this age is just to focus on your career building, get a nice career, and after that you can have relationship, you can be in love and stuff like that. We kind of look down upon, being romantic, showing, love emotions at a young age like 16, 17, 18. We don't approve of it culturally.
Okay. For example, I know many cases of friends who met in my school, and they told me that it's normal. It's, for example, my friend has a good relation with her and with her parents. With, I don't know how to say, mm, the with the parents of his girlfriend.
Right. I think, too much of restriction is bad. It makes people more curious. It makes people a bit rebellious. They actually want to do what you stop them from doing. And sometimes this rebellious attitude is just a reaction and not very genuine. They don't genuinely fall in love or feel any emotion. They just do it because they think they can assert their individuality doing this, which they are searching for as teenagers. you know they want to be independent, and sometimes they just do it to assert that they are independent. So yeah, as teachers in India, we have this added burden on us in the class to watch that students are not engaging in this kind of behavior, and we are expected to stop them. If a boy is showing any emotions towards a girl, we are supposed to take action. We are not supposed to ignore. And I don't like this responsibility. I just want to focus on teaching, and I don't want to be the moral police. It just bothers me. But again, sometimes you have to do what you are expected from everybody because you feel the pressure, you see. So I don't like having this responsibility, but sometimes I have to. I have no choice.
But I have a question. Why somebody's gonna care about like others' life, others' relationship?
Good question, Noelia. We are
Yeah.
very close knit. This our society is very close knit. Okay, we actually care a lot about each other in good way and bad way both. You know,
Yeah, but like we're not family, like, you know?
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
Sometimes it has both, ups, and it has a positive side and negative side both to it. Understand? uh, People are always there for you. In small towns, you don't feel lonely whether you have your own family or not. Your neighbors and friends, they will just behave as if they are your family. When you need them, they will be there for you. but the
Yeah.
downside is but the
Mhm.
downside is they interfere in your personal lives. They will tell you their opinions where you don't need their opinions. Another thing is, like I said, girls are considered prestige of the family. Okay,
Mm,
they need to be protected. They are the owner. And if they are with a boy, then it is like that prestige is being harmed, that honor is being wild. That's how people see it. So if my daughter is walking with a boy, somebody who cares about me, you know will actually take it upon them to stop them, maybe, or to tell me that your daughter was walking with a guy. It
mhm.
means you have to stop it. Otherwise, you know what it might lead to. That sexual behavior before marriage, all these things are a very big taboo in India. I'm not saying people don't engage in these things, but these things are so much behind the curtains, and everybody is
Yeah.
afraid that this might happen, once you are, with a guy, with a girl, opposite sex, then these things will start to happen. So they think it is a big distraction. There are stories, actually. We have a great poet from, I think, which century, maybe 1800 years ago. There was a poet called Kalidas. Okay, Kalidas's story is very interesting. He was a stupid person. Okay, very stupid person, but somehow dramatically he got married to one of the smartest women of his times. And because that lady he got married to, his wife, was not only intelligent, she was very beautiful as well. So this guy was very much attracted, infatuated in her beauty and everything. But because that lady was so intelligent and clever, she ridiculed him and kind of rebucked him, saying that if you showed so much interest in knowing the truth, you would make something. Okay, the kind of interest you show in me. And this made him very upset. and he left home and he became the greatest poet of India called Kalidas. So basically, in India, we have an idea of called Vairagya. Vairagya means disenchantment, basically. Okay? No interest in the worldly matters, the pleasures, the materialistic pleasures. That is called Vairagya. So this idea is glorified here. And traditionally, we divide our life into ages, stages. And the first stage, when you are a student, you are supposed to follow an idea called brahmacharya, which means uh, which means staying celibate, celibacy, staying away from all this. So this idea is glorified in our culture for young people. I think now you understand why other people really, take so much interest in somebody is engaging in these things. So it is
Yeah.
gonna take time. Even today, although things have changed in big cities, you know boys and girls grow up together, playing together, and have relationships as early as 15 and 16. Traditional
Mhm.
people are very critical of this change. They say it is the impact of the Western culture and it is going to erode our culture, it is going to destroy our culture. I do not completely agree with them, but I agree with them in a certain way, because if you do not teach young teenagers to the value of controlling their emotions, if they fall for instant gratification, then it is difficult to achieve big things in life, right? Instant gratification is a problem. You want something then and there, and you don't get it, then it's not nice. I mean, instant gratification is a problem of today's generation, if you would agree. I think it is. They don't have patience. I mean, even in love, you need to have patience. What does it mean? If you like somebody, does it mean you have to go all out with them, without thinking about I mean, controlling your emotions to a certain extent is necessary. Some people don't know what controlling their emotions is. They feel for somebody, they feel attracted to somebody, and they just kind of cut loose. They just, what I'm trying not to say very openly, because it's a classroom, but they become sexually active too early, and not too good. It's not good. Researchers have proven those people who start becoming sexually active late in their lives are actually happier with their personal lives. So
Yeah.
look at American culture. What happens there? There are lots of women who are pregnant at age 16 and 17. Now, I don't think it is ideal, is it?
No, I don't know, but they're gonna like it's like a proof, like you're gonna learn after this, like after what happened. It's like conclusion. I mean, like you're gonna learn after that what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that they should be allowed to really explore the emotions of love and affection and attraction, but they should also be taught to engage in sexual behavior when they are adults. But again, in our culture, you can't do that because it is related to marriage. Marriage is the time. Before marriage, it is a taboo. Socially, it is not acceptable. Yes, people do it, but it is not socially acceptable. You have to
But
keep it
I
a
think, yeah, yeah, same. But I think right now it's more like normalized, like having before marriage. I think it's more normalized right now. And I think that's
Hmm.
bad.
Hmm.
But yeah, people are growing
Besides,
like.
I'll tell you, some people in India are even going to be critical of the fact that we discuss this in the class.
Oh, what? It's
Yeah.
normal. It's life.
Eh,
It's how it is.
So,
We should
some,
talk about it to
yes.
know.
No, you won't understand them, because I know, because these guys don't make sense. They say no, hush, hush, hush. That's all they know.
Oh
For
my
them,
God.
it's a topic should not be touched. They say they think in a very strange idea. I don't know how they think, and
Yeah.
I think they're very hypocritical. Okay, those people. Um, some people will watch this recording and say, "Oh my
Mhm.
God, why are you discussing this in class?" Especially when there is a girl in the class. And why is that girl responding so much? Why is she taking so much interest in this conversation? Of course, I don't take them seriously. I love the way you're
Yeah.
laughing at it. I don't take them
Yeah.
seriously. Otherwise, I wouldn't really start this conversation. But yeah, there are those people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I think it's important to like to have these topics because if we don't talk about this, like we are gonna grow without this like this thought or like saying after like nobody told me this, like, and it would be like we're gonna grow being ignorance basically. So we need to learn
You
about
know,
life.
I totally agree with you. And we have to accept the fact that the countries which are most livable, the cities which are most livable, actually believe in the ideas you and I believe in, okay? Not these traditional people's ideas. And even the
Yeah.
children of these traditional people want to go and live there, which in itself stamps that we are, right. They are wrong. Otherwise, some Indian cities should have been in the most livable cities list, but unfortunately, we don't have Indian cities on that list because of the people's attitude here. Unless
Mhm.
you allow people freedom to live life the way they want. I mean, we can think about the homosexual people, have no
Mhm.
freedom in India. you know I mean, uh, it is definitely a big problem. I mean, there was a case in the Supreme Court here, should they be
Mhm.
allowed to be married? And unfortunately, our Supreme Court chickened out. They did not have the courage to say yes.
Mhm.
They passed the buck saying only the government, the parliament can make a law on this, so we have nothing to say.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And some people were so happy about it that Supreme Court did not make a decision, did not approve of that, same-sex marriage. Some people were very happy, finally. Even our government is against it because, majority of the
Yeah.
people are not in the support.
Yeah, in Peru too. It's like it's not allowed. But I think in some countries in South America, yeah, it's allowed to same sex marriage. Yeah.
If I did though, express my opinion on this, I kind of sounded, I think very much clearly I supported this idea. People here in India will judge me for supporting this idea. And they do actually.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Uh,
No.
they think it is like they still have a very traditional opinion on these things, conservative and ill-informed opinion.
Mhm.
Religion plays a very big role in shaping their thinking about it. You
Oh
know,
yeah, sure.
especially the
Yeah.
Muslims in my country, they will never agree. They will never agree that same-sex people should be
Yeah.
allowed. No
Yeah, my
way.
friend. Yeah. And it's hard. It's like, oh, like we have different opinions. It's like, oh yeah, for sure. Like, oh no.
But
I don't
I am a little that way when it comes to standing my ground. I just
yeah,
don't budge.
they're
I'm pretty strong.
yeah. Yeah, they're like a wall. Like it's no, 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 no. I was like, okay, no, because like I'm not gonna fight and saying yes, 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 because they're not gonna be like open. They're not open mind. They're
Exactly,
closed.
exactly.
That religion. Like it's very hard topic
Uh,
and
yeah.
yeah.
Only a few days ago, in one of my classes, this topic came up. I asked them if they believe that homosexuals deserve punishment, or should
Oh
be allowed to have their freedom, to live life the way they want. A lot of
yeah.
people said they want to live the way they want, no problems, they should be allowed. But there were a few people who said no, that it is a bad thing, it is a disease. And those, yes, yes,
Mm. Oh,
they listen to their religious preachers, old people, conservative people, and they just believe whatever they teach. So, um,
yeah.
some of
Wow.
them, some of them who said that homosexual people should have their freedom. When I
Mhm.
told those people that your religious scriptures will not say this, they became quiet. I mean, they can change their own mind, but they cannot go against what their religion teaches. That's a strange.
Yeah.
Some of them will try to interpret their religion their way, like, okay, no, 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 there is no such sanction against them. But like traditionally, we all know, right? The world was not in their favor, right? Everywhere, it is a very new, modern acceptance. They're found in some countries, homosexuals. Otherwise, traditionally, for centuries, they were only oppressed. They could not express their identity openly. Nobody can deny this fact. And why couldn't they? Because, of course, they didn't have, social acceptance because of religious beliefs. God has created man and woman. So the third gender, or the people who do not fall in this man woman category, are simply not okay. That's how they think about it. In the,
But
in the
also
past,
God,
yes, yes,
yeah,
Nick.
yeah. But also God says like love is love. Like you can love a
This,
person and it's
this is
fine, right?
this is
So
when I say that religion
mhm,
is not good or bad. What you want to believe, what you want to believe, sometimes I think, you know, you can interpret religion differently if you are a kind person. The same things, like you said, okay, why do you value that particular part? Why don't you value this part where God says love? Okay, love
yeah,
is the most important thing again. So yeah. By the way, what was I gonna say? Do you know that in the past there was a punishment for them? I don't know.
yes.
They were thrown off the roof. If somebody
Mhm,
was found, that they express their sexual identity as homosexual, they would be thrown off the roof of a tall building. That
yeah,
was
I heard of
punishment for them. Man, can't believe it.
that.
Such hatred, such, what do you
Age.
call it? Yeah, this is absolutely, I mean, why
Yeah,
is so much of phobia? This is a phobia, unnecessary.
yeah.
I think the word that we should all talk about is homophobia. you know,
Homophobia.
but they
Yes.
don't really care about it. Okay,
Uh,
lovely topic.
oh,
And Rodrigo, Gonzalo, and Alejandro, as Noelia participated in the discussion, I would have really loved to, hear you guys more actively, participating. Maybe next time, okay? Because this is the whole idea of a language class. Sometimes we should, okay? Let me carry on with the text now. Wearing a scary homemade mask modeled on the one worn by the killer in the horror film Halloween. Okay, a lot of words are written in a way I want you guys to understand. Wearing a scary homemade mask, okay? This is what he wore, which was shaped on the one on the mask worn by the killer in the horror film Halloween. So there was a horror film called Halloween. In that film, there was a killer, and that killer wore a mask, and that was a very scary mask. And this mask this guy wore was modeled on the same. He made it at home. Okay. He didn't want people to see his face, so he wore this homemade mask. Okay. I think it was because of the overconsumption of movies that he decided to wear that mask when he went out. The 15-year-old escaped onto the city streets. Okay, this is such a long sentence. You can break it down into many shorter sentences. uh, he was 15 years old when he did this. He escaped onto the city streets. He was wearing a mask. That mask was modeled on a mask uh, the killer wore in the film Halloween. It was a horror film. Okay, this is what is written. I hope you guys can follow the structure of this sentence, how the sentence has been formed. Wearing a scary homemade mask. Um, uh, Maybe someday I'm gonna teach you the idea of participles and gerunds, you know, and these things. Okay, because we are studying that book as well. We will, because I'm not very sure if you guys can reproduce a sentence, like this one. Can you copy the pattern of this sentence and think of a similar sentence? Wearing a scary homemade mask modeled on the one worn by the killer in the horror film Halloween, the 15-year-old escaped onto the city streets. Shocked by his appearance, shocked by his appearance, a shopkeeper called the police. Shocked by his appearance. Who was shocked? A shopkeeper. A shopkeeper was shocked by his appearance and he called the police. But Mukunda refused to answer their questions. I
Teacher,
think,
sorry.
yes,
Uh,
Alejandro.
uh, who is a shopkeeper? What's the meaning of shopkeeper?
A shopkeeper is a storekeeper, like somebody who runs a shop where you see
Oh,
lots of
okay.
shops. Yeah, shopkeeper. Yeah.
But it's the owner,
Not
the owner of the
necessarily.
shop.
That's a good question. It could be. It could be the owner
Oh,
because
okay.
there are other words we use for the people who work there, like sales agents, salesmen and staff members. But the word shopkeeper usually refers to the one who owns it.
Okay. Thank you.
Alejandro, suddenly I remember you asked me a question about 2 and 4. Then I can say this
Yeah.
much about 2 and 4, that after 4, you know, there is a noun usually, okay?
Okay.
And after 2, there could be a noun, there could be a V1 as well.
There could be a gerund, like an ing verb.
After 2 works in 2 ways. It's a preposition and it is part of 2 infinitive. For example, I went, uh, I went to talk to him. Okay, so there are twos in this sentence. I went to talk to him. Okay, so there are two twos in this sentence. There is a two after went and there is a two after talk. So the two after went is not a preposition, but the two after talk is a preposition. I went to talk to him. So talk to him in this phrase, to is a preposition. But when to talk, to is not a preposition. This to is part of to infinitive. In English, there is an idea called to infinitive. Okay, to and then the V1 base form, to infinitive. Um, so some verbs are followed by to infinitive. For example, I hope to pass the exam. So when I say I hope to pass the exam, this to pass is the to infinitive. It is not the preposition. But sometimes to can be a preposition as well. If it is a preposition, then after to, you will need the fourth form of the verb, because the English grammar says that after prepositions, we can use a noun or a noun equivalent, either a noun or a noun equivalent. For example, when I say I'm interested in football, in is a preposition and football is a noun. So prepositions are followed by nouns always. But if you don't have nouns, you need something which is a noun equivalent. For example, I'm interested in watching football. I can't say watch. I can't say to watch. I'm interested in watching football. The ing form of the verb works as a noun equivalent, and we call it a gerund. I am interested in watching football. Now, listen to this one. I'm afraid of dogs. Of is a preposition, dogs is a noun, of course. So prepositions are followed by nouns. Now, if I don't want to use a noun, then I can use a noun equivalent, like a verb for, a pronoun. Okay, I'm afraid of him. So him is a pronoun, which is a noun equivalent, of course. It can come instead of a noun. And if there is a verb, it has to be in the fourth form. I'm afraid of falling sick. I'm afraid of being punished. So I'm using the fourth form of the verb. So this is the basic rule, that after prepositions, we use the fourth form of the verb. Now, the thing is, TO2 can be a preposition, and sometimes it is not a preposition. Take a look at this sentence. I'm looking forward to see you or seeing you. Which one is correct? I'm looking forward to see you or seeing you. Go ahead, Alejandro. I am looking forward to see you or seeing you.
Seeing you.
All right. Other people, Rodrigo Gonzalo, I'm looking forward to see you or seeing you.
Seeing you.
Actually, it is correct. You're right. A lot of people think the moment they see tier 2, they put a V1 after it because it is more common. But there are some adjectives which are followed by two preposition. And if you have two as a preposition, the next verb has to be in the fourth form. So I'm looking forward to seeing you is correct. So the difference that you asked me between 2 and 4, okay, if they are prepositions, both 2 and 4, then, the difference is only in the collocations because they're both prepositions. So rules will be very much the same. They will both be followed by nouns or noun equivalents because they're both prepositions. The rules will be the same. So preposition vary in terms of meaning a little bit and collocation mainly because prepositions are part of fixed expressions mostly. Okay, especially this preposition TO2 is part of the fixed expression. When it comes to the difference in the meaning, for example, I say, give this, message to XYZ, give this message to your sister or to your brother. Okay. And this message is for your sister. Understand the difference in the way they make you feel? Give this message to your sister. This message is for your sister. So I find it very difficult to put it in words, the difference. I can feel it, and I find it really difficult to explain it. I've never explained the difference between 4 and 2. Actually, I was never asked this question. Alejandro, do you understand when you say this message is for your sister or to your sister?
Uh, for your sister.
Okay, and when I say give this message, then for your sister, to your sister?
Two. Two.
2. So, Alejandro, remember I asked you, please bring the questions where you feel confused. Those questions will definitely help me understand your problem better,
Okay.
and I can explain the difference in a better way because in general it is very difficult for me to define the difference.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, okay. So, Mukunda refused to answer their questions. He said, I'm not going to answer. Last thing I discussed yesterday was refuse and deny. Okay. So you refuse to do something, I will not do it. I will not do it. I will not do it. He refused to do it. Refused to answer their questions. The police took him to a hospital. Aha. No, one word two here. Would you think of for here at all, Alejandro? Do you think you might feel confused instead of two? Do you think you might think of using for here? The police took him for a hospital?
No, no.
No, you won't. Okay. The
No,
police
that
took him.
sounds like, yeah, that
Yeah, clear.
sounds
Yep. I
clear,
want
yeah.
those sentences where you are a little confused whether it should be 2 or 4. The police took him to a hospital, okay, where he stayed for a week. Notice this comma. The police took him to a hospital, extra information, where he stayed for a week. Okay. This part after the comma, okay, is extra information. This part is not trying to tell you anything about the hospital, okay? This part is just telling you what more happened. The police took him to a hospital where he stayed for a week before being returned home. This part is very interesting. Before being returned home, not before returning home, before being returned home. because he was in police custody. Okay. So the police said, okay, you can go back before being returned home. That's why we are using being returned. If it was his decision, if he was independent, free, then we could say he stayed there for a week before returning home. Okay. So that could have been fine. But being returned because he was not free, the police took him there. So it was the police who told him, now you can go before being returned home. I told dad things were going to be different, says Mukunda. After this experience, he told his dad things were going to be different. Now, can you imagine what exactly he said to his dad, guys? He said, Dad, things are going to be different from now. Okay, things are going to be different, right? But look at this here. I told Dad things were going to be different. Okay, but imagine him speaking to his dad. Do you think he will use the word were or he will use the word are when he's talking to his dad? Things
Are.
are going to be different, Dad. We call it reported speech. Have you studied reported speech at school?
Yeah.
Yes, that's why the verb form changes to past because we have the reporting verb here. I told in the past tense, because of the reporting verb in the past tense, the reported speech here, I told dad things were going to be different, says Mukunda. He was angry, but he accepted it. He was angry, but he accepted it. Dad was angry, but he accepted it. Okay. Dressed in their reservoir dog's look, all six began to go out on their own. Okay. On their own, alone. They began to go out. They began to go out on their own. On their own is a very common expression, which means alone. Okay. Without anybody. Dressed in this look. It was on such a trip, this sentence, again, we call it cleft sentences, people. I would like to tell you because you are ready to learn cleft sentences. It was on such a trip that they met documentary filmmaker Crystal Masele. You guys told me the other day that this statement was true. What was the statement here? They met, she heard about the boys, so she wanted to make a film about them. No, 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 no. She did not hear about the boys. She met the boys just like that. It was an accidental meeting. It was on such a trip that they met documentary filmmaker Crystal Masele. So if you understand this line, it doesn't tell us that she heard about them and it was a planned meeting or something. They just began to go out on their own and accidentally they met, documentary filmmaker Crystal Masele. So the filmmaker did not hear about them and it was not a planned meeting. According to this statement here, it was on such a trip that they met documentary filmmaker Crystal Masele. So guys, there is a normal flow of the words in a sentence. For example, we met on a Sunday. We met on a Sunday, right? It's simple sentence. But if I want to emphasize this Sunday, okay, then I can bring this Sunday out and I can say on a Sunday that we met. Okay, it was on a Sunday that we met. Now, why do we do this? We do this to put more emphasis on this particular part. So we call them cleft sentences. It was I who supported you. Okay, the normal arrangement is I supported you. Okay, but if you want to put more emphasis on I, then you can bring this I, you can separate it from the sentence saying, it was I who supported you. Okay, so this sentence sounds more emphatic. I'm going to give you more examples when we meet next week because it is time. We have to wrap up. So cleft sentences are very important, so that you can maintain the flow of your, language and you can put emphasis where you want. Okay. So, guys, thank you for this lovely discussion today and the comparison of the cultures. It was really exciting and informative as well. And we are going to have some more of them in the future as well. And for this weekend, enjoy yourselves. I'll see you guys on Monday evening, your Monday evening, my Tuesday morning. And just maybe I'll share something with you for homework, maybe. Okay, you could do that. Maybe a listening task. I will share an audio file with you guys. You could listen to it, and we'll talk about these things when we meet on Monday. Okay.
Okay, teacher.
Okay,
Thank you so
teacher.
much.
Bye bye. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Nice weekend, everyone. Bye
Good
Bye.
bye.
night.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Good night.